All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tea Time Talks. I hope all of you are doing wonderfully well on this Saturday afternoon. As you can see, I'm joined by a living legend, a hero of the beautiful game that we call football, Nayim. How are you, Nayim? So happy to see you.
Hello, Semra. Yeah, fine here in Zaragoza, at home. Just this hard times, but I'm fine. I'm fine, thank you.
So, what have you been doing to cope with all of this and to pass the time? Because you've been there for what, a month now, and you're alone, no family as well. How are you? What are you doing
Well,
to get by?
I'm at home alone, and now just remembering the time I was single and just doing dishes, cooking and cleaning, but talking with a lot of friends, worrying about me because I'm alone, but. I'm fine here in Zaragoza. I've got supermarkets next to my house, and my friends around just worrying about you know I'm doing, and at the end of the day, just be patient. That's the main thing now. I just tell
Yeah.
people just to be patient because it's not long to finish this thing because it's crazy, but that what's happened, and just be patient.
And normally you live in Ceuta,
Yeah,
which
that's
is where you're from. So all of your family is down there right now.
absolutely, yeah.
How are they dealing with the situation? How are they holding up?
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Thanks God. They're not ill, and obviously, at home together. That's the main thing. Healthy. That's all we want. The kids are together. That's important because they entertain each other, and they're doing well. They're doing well, studying as well at the same times. Just keeping up with the studies, and watching a lot of sports on TV, playing PlayStation. You know what they like, the kids these times, and obviously the main thing is that they're healthy.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
And how is the pastry shop? Because of course I have to ask about that. I know how proud you are of the pastry shop, but is it right now? Is it still open? Are you still allowed to do anything, or is it also shut down because of the whole situation and everybody has to stay indoors? What's the deal with it right now?
Well, they're open. They're open, and
Really?
yeah, they're open. But obviously, you have to be really careful. Just
Yeah.
going, when I go out, shopping, just wear my mask, my gloves. That's important, and not getting near to people. Just to be aware, because we don't know where this virus is all around, and
Yeah, of course.
obviously, the people they know about the things. It's told us that let's be really careful because you never know. At the end of the day, just we have to watch what's going to happen with this. It's hard time for everyone all over the world. That's crazy. I never thought that's going to happen, and well, just see if we can get in our normal lives. That's I think that's the goal for every one of us. Just doing those little things that's important for every one of us.
So Naeem, we already have a few people who have some questions for you. And
Yeah.
also, first of all, where did he go? Lawrence, he wants to have a shout out. He wants to know if you could give him a shout out.
Uh-huh.
He's joining us from the UK.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, no problem. I love talk to people and tell them about their story about the game of this game. I mean, football. All of us have experience, and I know young people want to know about their teams, their players. I'm always involved in that kind of thing. Okay, I think it's important to tell people your experience. And at any time. I mean, anyone can talk to me, and we can have a chat. It's me. I mean, just
Yeah.
open for everything that's involved in my experience.
That's very true indeed.
Yeah.
You're very approachable. You're very easy to talk to,
Uh,
and that's one of the wonderful qualities that you have, quite honestly. So,
I think we're people. I mean, we're people. We are the same. I mean, at the end of the day, just learning about your experiences. And I think if you've got, well, we're lucky enough to have a lot of experience in life because I'm 53 already, and and
53 years young,
yeah,
Nayim.
that's right.
53
No,
years young.
I feel good, but the thing is, when I want to know a lot of things about a lot of people, and if you have a chance to just go and ask them and talk to them, have a cup of coffee, and learn, still learning about everything.
Speaking of which, Fabul 1129 sorry, wants to know this about you. He wants to know at what age you got involved in football and what was the driving force behind getting into
Well,
football.
I was in a small village, called Ceuta in north of Africa, and I started like any other kid, have passion about the game. I just I remember I used to sleep with my ball, and in my bed with my grandma, and that started from there. Playing the street with my neighbors, with other people around the city, and I was lucky to when I was 15. I remember where we had the game in Seville because we won the league, the local league, and there were a lot of people like watching kids, see if watching the talents of that, it's like, and I was lucky to have a good game in that time, and Barcelona was interested when I was 15. That was crazy. That was crazy. My mom, she was really worried, but she said, "Well, she's too young. You can't go away." I mean, it's not these times. I mean, with this technology now, it's like you're not too far. But
Of course.
at that time, I mean, 120,000 miles. It's just sorry.
Oh, it's a big
Yeah. I
deal.
mean, this is. I think it was. 1,200 miles, yeah. It was a very big deal. I mean, to go from my hometown to Barcelona, it takes me about 10, 20 hours between 10 and 20. It's
Exactly.
crazy, I can't.
Well, I mean, it's literally from like the very southern part, not including the Canary Islands, but the southern part all the way up to the north of
Yes, that's
Spain.
right.
So
It's
you're
just
crossing the entire country.
absolutely. First, I mean, I have to get the boat first, and then get the car, and then get the plane or train. I mean, but that's where it started when, I was lucky enough to have a good game. I was at Barcelona, just, asked me if I want to go for a trial. My mom, I told you, she didn't want it, but my dad is crazy about football. My grandma said to me once, when you were born, your dad said, I mean, I would love my son to be like a professional footballer. And, I made
Wow,
his
that's
dreams come true.
great.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. He just passed away about 2 or 3 months ago. And, well, I just remember him like that, and the
Yeah.
happy times. And it was, he told me, and I mean, just go and try because this can be your future.
Right.
And well, I went to Barcelona. I had to try for a week. And that week, my grandfather died. Yeah,
Oh man.
my dad's dad, and he said to me, "Well, I wanted to go to my granddad's funeral." He said to me, "Then you just stay here because you can do anything about it. He's just died. I
Right.
just want to go down to give him, what
Oh, out of respect, right?
yeah,
And
to
you
give
want to
him
be
my
with the
respect.
family,
That's right,
and
to
of
give him my
course, yeah.
respect, and that's what happens. And after that, just 6 years in Barcelona. I start from there. Starting in the youth teams and just
Right.
going up every single year. I was just in front of my ahead of my age, and that's what happened that's the start of my career. And after that,
Yeah.
everyone wants they know about the rest.
Well, so I was talking to Guillaume on one of these chats the other day, and he said, "Oh, you need to ask Nayim about his relationship, his curious, interesting relationship with Johan Cruyff." And I remember the day that he was interviewing you about
Yeah.
this. The three of us were in the studio on the weekend, and I was already practicing social distancing. Right, I was trying not to be too close.
I remember that
But I
day.
was
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to listen. I want to listen, right? This was for the BBC, I think it was. And I remember hearing bits and pieces. And you do have or did have a rather unique relationship very different to what most people, I guess, have had with Johan Cruyff,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
absolutely, you're absolutely right, Semra. I mean, the thing is that he came to Barcelona. He signed for it, but as a manager, and I wasn't.
Because Terry Venables was there
Yeah,
first, right? When you were there,
Terry
okay.
Venables was sacked. Luis Aragonés was signed for just for one season, and after that, he was gone, and Johan Cruyff signed for Barcelona. The thing is that
Right.
he wanted to change everything. I mean, Johan Cruyff
Okay.
changed the game.
Yeah.
Changed the game the whole around the world, and now we understand the game in a different way thanks to him. I mean, as a manager, I think he was the best manager in the history of this game because he changed it for good. Looking for attacking football, nice to watch and talented players. And I had that talent. I thought that I wouldn't gonna suit good for his style. But the thing is, surprisingly, he said to me, "Well, I'm just not you're not going to play this season with in my team, and I wanted to go alone somewhere." And he asked me, is a chance to go to Cadiz. Cadiz, he was in the first division, but he was a team that he always at the bottom of the table. And obviously, running around the ball.
It's not as
And
appealing, right?
it wasn't my style. And I said to him, well,
Sure.
I don't want to go to Cadiz. I just want to go somewhere that's, a better team to play me football the way I understand this game. And he said to me, "Well, this is not team now, just this one, and you're not going to train with us." And it just I was training on my own. I mean, I couldn't go into my dressing room with my teammates. It was crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, absolutely hard time because I was 21 years old.
So it almost seemed like it was something personal then. I mean, more than
well,
just
he didn't know me.
your abilities
He
or.
didn't know me. I mean, he didn't know me. He just came and he spoke to me for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, he said, "Well," I said, "Well, fine. I just train, myself. I have 5 years contract. We'll see what's going to happen." It was a big decision at that time. I didn't have a
Sure.
manager. Just myself, 21 years old, with a little experience. But I took a chance. I took the chance, and it was 3 months training on my own in the woods, with an assistant that's in the contract. But it was a tough time. I was, thinking about what's going to happen with my future because I want to play football is my passion, my passion, and I just wanted to do it. And after that, I was, in October, I remember in October, I had a call from Terry Venables, and it was the coach of Tottenham.
Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
and I was lucky. But the thing is that after that, I had a chance to see Johan Cruyff when I came back to Zaragoza, and we played against them at home. We beat them 6-3.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very big
Amazing.
6-3, and at the end of the game, I was talking to Guardiola that you shouldn't go, never should go from Barcelona because your style of football is our style and all that. Well, it's fine. That's decisions that happens. But at the end of the game, I remember I was going to my dressing room and I was I heard Nayim, and it was Johan Cruyff. It was Johan
Wow.
Cruyff. Yeah, I said, wow, this guy, I don't know, he's gonna tell me. I mean. I
Sure.
just
Because you hadn't spoken to him in all
not
that
at
time
all.
since
I
you
mean,
left, right? Yeah. So it's been like
it,
6, 7 years at that
that's
point,
right. I
right?
nearly
Yeah.
broke my career. I mean,
Right.
in one decision.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have that Tottenham call, and he said to me, "Well, I'm just going to tell you one thing. And we were alone, just no one around us." And he said to me, I'm just going to tell you one thing, and I'm sorry, and I think you're the only player that I was wrong about. I said,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, that's good, but
Those are some big
yeah,
words.
but no one around him,
Quite the
no one
compliment.
around us. He knows, he knew that he was no one
Yeah.
around us because you know what, Johan
Right.
Cruyff is like a lot, big personality, and he's
Sure.
always. And I said to him, well, Johan, thanks for the words, but I knew that 5 years ago or 7 years ago, that's you were wrong, because I believed in my football. I believed in myself. That's more. It's very important. I tell young players, just believe in your talents and believe in your hard work, and that's what I did. That's my relation with Johan Cruyff, and I can say he is, for me, the best manager of the history of the game, because he changed it. But at the same time, with me, he did not really, good, because I could stay train with the first team and then wait for the team. But he had that decision. It was very tough. I mean, every single morning, go to the woods, I just run around and not ball around. And this is football with a ball. I didn't have a ball for 3 months, and it's crazy. And in the afternoon, I try to ask, the youth teams managers, please just let me try and just hitting the ball or training the goalkeepers or do something on the pitch. You know what it's like. You played football, and it's like a track for us. We need the pitch, and we need the ball.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And did you? How did his words make you feel? Did it give you a sense of vindication, or did it make you feel any better? Did you feel nothing? I mean, what was apart from what you said to him? I mean, what were you feeling inside?
Well, it was coming for the best manager of the game, and I remember that dream team. He was playing very good football, and we used to love to watch Barcelona play, because they were unbelievable with this kind of players: Stoichkov, Romario, Ronaldo, and Laudrup, Koeman. I mean, unbelievable. Guardiola. Obviously, I like the words that he said to me, but at the same time, I remember when I had a tough time, I said, "Oh man, I was very lucky to get that call from Tottenham and start playing what I love, just playing football."
And you share, speaking of Tottenham, you share something very special with another legendary Muhammad Ali, right? That famous phrase of float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Didn't the fans of the Tottenham fans, didn't they used to say that about you whenever you actually made that move to Spurs?
Well, it was unbelievable. I remember when I went to Tottenham, I thought, wow, I just go into English football, and tough, the ball in the air most of the time, and but I remember my first training. I just had that rondo, that circle, and wow! I said, "Wow, this is a very, very good team." And I started watching Chris Warden, unbelievable player, quality. Paul Gascoigne. This is for me, it was the best player in the world at that time. I mean, what a player it was, and Vinnie Samways, Paul Stewart, Paul Walsh. I mean, players that they play, good attacking football and good with the ball. And I love to just get the ball all the time, because that was my talent. And I remember that the crowd just saying just Nayim and doing this, and it was crazy from the start, because I remember the first game we were playing against Norwich City. It was they were the top of the table, and we won the game 2-1. And it just made I just had a very, very good game. I gave the winner to Paul Gascoigne with a pass. And the second game, I scored a goal against Peter Shoutout against Southampton. It was the Southampton goalkeeper, and I scored the goalkeeper. And the crowd, every time we just played our Hall Lane, they were just great to me. I mean, cheering me up, and a lot of respect. And they liked the way I played I played the game. It's just doing different things. Every time I just go into the pitch, the main thing is to first win the game, obviously, because you're professional. Right. But at the same time, those things that make people happy, and that's every time I just play the game, I went thinking like that.
Well, it obviously paid off as well, because you're still, even now, you're very much loved and very much revered by Spurs fans.
Absolutely.
All over the world. I mean, that must be such an incredible feeling to know that even now, they still hold you to such a high esteem?
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, I'm telling you, I just can tell you why, because I scored a goal in a final against the
Against
the
Arsenal.
biggest rival of
Okay,
Tottenham.
I was waiting to go back to
That's
that.
right. I mean, that's why. The thing is,
But you also typically played really well against Arsenal whenever you were with Tottenham as well, right? They always seem to be the one team that you were just capable of completely taking
yeah,
apart more than anybody
I
else.
remember I just finishing games and going to going home and meeting the fans in the street. Said, "Wow, in that game, please just win, just hammer them." I mean,
Yeah.
it was the game of the year for the fans, and we had to to win that game for them. To go into the breakfast on Monday and be happy and I hammer the hammers.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And what a way, I mean, to deliver as well too. That goal is something else. I mean, when you watch it back, or when anybody watches it back, you collect the ball calmly, you have time, you have space, you're 50 meters away, right? I mean, what went through your mind to say, yeah, I'm just gonna go for it. 10 seconds left on the clock, extra time, we're level, try to avoid penalty. I mean, what made you decide to do that?
a lot of things, and it was a lot of things. But I thought it in half a second. I don't know why. I don't know how that happened, but happened because
Just instinct,
that's
like
right.
in your
Because the
gut,
mind,
something just said, just do it.
absolutely, and you're right. You play football, you can see it, and
Yeah.
that's just click. I don't know how. I just get the ball, put it in the floor, see my teammates that maybe they could be in the offside position. And at the same time, so I looked to David Seaman, the goalkeeper. It was away from the goal, and I said, "Well, I had the ball just bouncing perfectly." And I said, "Well, this is my chance. I'm just gonna try it." Well, I'm explaining it for about 2 minutes. It's gonna take me, but to think about it is about half a second. It's bam, bam, bam,
Yeah.
bam, and that explanation. I don't have an explanation to say why, because that what happened, and you have to try it. I mean, when I train the young people, the youngsters said, "Well, try everything you can
Yeah.
in the game. If you miss, or go to the next one, but." Try things different, and that's what I used to to play. I just try things different, and that what happened. I had that kick, and David Seaman, the poor guy, it was that half a second late at the end of the game. This is football,
Yeah.
just being earlier than the rival for an inch, and that's
Yeah.
me.
I mean, you couldn't have placed it more perfectly, quite honestly, given the position of the goalkeeper and just the way that you. I mean, it was
Yeah,
perfect.
in my position, it was the right hand side. It
Yeah.
wasn't even in the
Yeah.
middle of.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's right. But I hit it with outside my foot just to go up really high and going down really quick. But why? I don't know. I mean, just happened. This is thing that sometimes happen in your life and you can't explain.
But that's the importance of instinct, and I think that's something that, in general, instinct is not mentioned a lot in conversations when it comes to football or to sport in general. But it does play such a pivotal role
Absolutely.
that, to make a decision like that. It's just something inside you says, just do it. I feel like this is right,
I mean,
and you go for
yeah,
it.
just you ask a talented player. I mean, the players that just do something different, and a lot of things that they do, they can't explain it. I can't explain a lot of things that I know. I watch now myself, and I said, "Well, Nayim, how could you do that?" But I mean, but I think this is a good given talent that obviously you have to work for it. You have to work really hard for it because professional footballer is just a tough profession because you have to look after yourself. You have to really be fit every single training, not even single game, even single training. You have to be competing for a place with your teammates and then delivers in the match day. And some things that talented players do, they can't explain it because it just happen. You see Ronaldinho, or Messi, or Ronaldo, or just this kind of player. Just I remember a player that's was Glenn Hoddle. I don't know if.
Of
I
course,
mean,
yeah.
this is the most elegant players that I never saw it in the game with Antonioni. That's an Italian player, class with Johan Cruyff as well. But I remember a game against Glenn Hoddle, and that thing with both feet. I mean, it was just say how you can do that, mate. It's just unbelievable, and that's just talent, pure talent. That's a God-given talent. That's what can I say about this kind of thing. The feeling of that, just you can't explain.
So that brings me to how you are still today very much, a living legend and a hero of the city of Zaragoza, which is where you are right now, right? And you even have not one, but two streets named after you, right?
Yeah, I have two streets. One in a small village called Trasmoz, and now here in the city. It's unbelievable, being 53 years old person with the street. I mean, with the name of the street is crazy, but that can tell you that the important, the important that game was, or that goal was, for the people here. I mean,
of course, a lasting impact that has gone on for,
this is a small town,
for decades now.
Not winning a lot of things, and obviously we won the like the FA Cup, the Spanish FA Cup, the Copa del Rey, the season before, and to play in Europe, a team like Zaragoza is just it's just a big party here in every single game. I remember when we played against Feyenoord, the quarterfinals, and it was just a full house, and live that kind of atmosphere. It was just different for me because I never played that kind of atmosphere, but. The semi-final against Chelsea, I remember that. Mm-hmm. Or we won the game 3-0, and that was crazy for this city. And imagine winning the final and the way we won the final. I mean, it just.
I mean, it's widely regarded as one of the best endings to a final, and also one of the best goals ever scored in a final. Even now.
Yeah. But, that's it was just 10 seconds to go. I mean, I remember I scored the goal after the extra time. The minute was 119 with 50 seconds. You just scored the goal, and the whistle blow. I mean, it's a dream. It was a dream come true, not for me only. With my teammates, with managers, with the club, but the main thing for the fans. I mean. The game is, for the fans. They pay to go and watch your team winning first, but try to see something that makes you feel good. And this is a beautiful game. And I was lucky enough to have playing with players that's very, very good and very talented player. I just learn a lot about them, and that's the way I understand the game.
So we'll come back to that, because we do have a question regarding who's the best player you've ever played with. But just to finish up on Zaragoza, whenever you go down to the streets and you walk around town, do people still come up to you? Do they still say things to you about that moment?
Absolutely unbelievable. Crazy. I mean, the people still thanking you. Thanks for that moment. And every one of them, they know what they were doing at that time. That's the
really?
Absolutely. I mean, I just stop. Please, can I have a picture or a signature? And they'll tell me about that time what they were doing, and
that's awesome.
I have a lot stories about it. A lot of them, they didn't watch the goal because they want to make a sandwich, or they went to the toilet to wait for the penalties. Even in the ground, he said, "Well, wow, I was watching the whole game. I thought, wow, this is a minute ago. I'm just going to go to the toilet and come back."
Oh, man.
And she's
the biggest regret of their lives.
And, it's crazy here. I just feel I am blessed. Because of that moment, and made a lot of people happy, and that's it's about this game, just making people feel good. And this city for me is just my second hometown. I feel really, really comfortable, and they still thanking you, even the kids. And now with YouTube, and the dads tell them about we were important when once in this city, because Zaragoza now is in the second division.
Right.
But it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling seeing the happiness of people 25 years after. This is it feels really good.
And you have one very big fan in the UK. I think you probably know who he is, LaLiga Gav. He wants to know what he has to do in order to get a signed Zaragoza shirt from you.
I mean, just get in touch with, in Twitter, like a private message, and we'll get. I did that this a few times. People that get in touch with me with Twitter and a private message, and I'll get in touch with them, and we'll arrange it. I don't know how, but we will absolutely. It's easy. I mean, anytime. I would love to.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So here's another question from you. This one is from Paul Jones,
Yeah,
and it's going back to what we were talking about, what you were just mentioning a few minutes ago about the best players
yeah.
you've ever played with. So he wants to know who, in fact, is the best player that you've played with at all levels of football, both in Spain and in England.
Well, without a doubt, it was just Paul Gascoigne. Without a doubt. I mean, what a talent! What a talent! He had everything. I mean, he had everything.
Yeah.
In
It's a shame the way that his
Yeah,
career
that's the
ended up.
thing. You know,
But
we played a year ago, so a game against the Inter Milan legends in the new ground. New ground is just crazy. It's like a five-star hotel.
oh my god,
Yes,
I
I
know. I
mean,
really want to make a trip just to go
absolutely, it's
visit
just
this stadium.
crazy. I remember I just played in the mud, and but it's just unbelievable ground. It's nice to go and see. And Paul was just so talented. He had everything. I remember just my first training. I said, "Well, who is this guy? 21 years
Yeah.
old, winning game on his own, competing, strong, running with the ball. It was unstoppable. He had, set pieces in free kicks. I remember the goal he scored against Arsenal in the semi-final at Wembley, right in the top corner. And he took us to the FA Cup final. Shame he got injured there because he was overexcited and he had really a bad injury. I remember that. But Paul Gascoigne, for me, at that time, was the best player in the world. Shame that the people around him, it wasn't the right people,
Yeah.
and he ended the way he ended. But in the football ways, he just so talented. I remember this. He was strong. I mean, and he was competitive as well. I mean,
Yeah.
when he had to defend, he was the best defender. It was crazy. I mean, he was so strong and so competitive. He hated to lose, but what a talent, for God's sake! It's just a different class player.
Yeah. Definitely. Does it kind of remind you? Do you think there's parallels with like George Best, for example, somebody who's so naturally gifted, so naturally talented, but then their life off the pitch completely took them, down, unfortunately, a very dark,
It's a
path
shame.
that
Yeah,
basically
it's a
ruined their
shame.
careers.
Yeah, you're right, Semra. It's a shame. At the end of the day, you have to get around the right people because he's just such a nice person. He's this
Yeah.
good-hearted man. I mean, I remember he helped me a lot. We used to live together in a hotel, five of us. Gudni Bergsen from Iceland, Erik Thorstvedt from Norway. There was the goalkeeper. Paul Stewart, Paul Gascoigne, and myself. And obviously, spending a lot of time together. And he was really a good head, very funny. He was just very funny. He's making jokes all the time. My first 3 months was like a hell. Like every single meal we had, he had to go. With me, but good-hearted man. It's a shame. I mean, he could, be whatever he wanted to be because, he had the talent. In England they still love him, even though the problem he had with the alcohol, we know that, and we
Yeah.
serve no papers. It's a shame, but well, it's looking better now. It's looking better now. I think
Yeah.
he's got a manager that is taking care of him and
Yeah.
see if he can keep it up because he's a nice person. He's a nice person. I just love him. We have a very good friendship and we connected really quick on the pitch because we understand the football the same way. Obviously, I don't have his talent, but it was easy to play with these kind of players. I mean, just get the ball and give it to Paul. He can make things happen, you know. And that's what he did every single game. I watched Hallane, which is unbelievable, the atmosphere and, cheering him. And, he used to love that. He used to love that. But, at the end, this is not only football in this life. I mean, it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
The football ends, and you're still young when you finish the football, and you have to be really, balanced in your life, and that's what's not happened in Paul's life. But the thing is, and the main thing now, that he looks better.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
It seems as though he's turned a really good corner.
But what a
and
talent!
things
What a
are-
talent! Unbelievable to
Yeah.
watch. Lovely
No
to watch.
question.
No question at all.
So speaking of which, actually, Fabul has another question for you, and it's based off of what you were just talking about, and I think it's quite interesting. And he wants to know how you would advise a player to manage their success.
Well,
I suppose in a way to try and stay on the right path versus, what happened in the case of Gaza.
I'm just going to talk about my experience, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Go for it.
First thing is your family. Your family have to be, if you had to be hard on you, they should be. I mean, the family is the first thing. Obviously, and your friends. That's what happened to Gaza. Your friends around you is important, okay? When you do the wrong thing, just, tell you to go in the right path. And that's what's not happened to Gaza. Your family and your friends is very important in your life, because we used to train 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, 4 hours. You've got 24 hours, more in the day, and there is what's going to be. You are a professional player 24 hours a day, because you have to eat properly, you have to sleep properly, you have to be healthy all the time, looking after your body, not having problem, outside of the game, because that's,
Of course, distractions.
Absolutely, you're right. Gaza, the people around him, it wasn't the right people, always having, laughing and, telling yes to everything. And she's never yes to everything. When you do something wrong, you just have to,
Someone was like Maradona as well, the environment that Maradona found himself in too.
I remember when Maradona came to Barcelona, he used to come with 5 cars full of his family and friends to watch training. I mean,
Jesus, talk about an entourage.
Can't be right. I mean, one of the best players in the history of the game, if you're not the best, with Leo Messi. I mean, you can't do that, and that's about the people around you. Not say yes to her. Oh yes, that's Diego. That's fine. Yeah, well, I'm just gonna be until 5 in the morning, having a party every single day. No, that's not right. Even if you are the best player in the world, you have to be really, really fit, because the player next to you, in front of you, is fit, is strong, and you have to be in your best shape to compete. And that's what happened. This kind of player, this talented player, they believe too much in the talent. And when Diego had, the right people around him, and he was fit, I remember I watched the games against, with Napoli, and it's just. And it's not the game now. I mean, they kicked him all over the place, because the game the game before, it was really, really harsh and
much more physical and much rougher, and of course, and a lot more was allowed than it is nowadays.
That's what I learned in England. I mean, I remember playing against Manchester United, and it was Brian Robson, the captain, and what a competitive player. It was just so strong, and Paul Ince as well. And I said, well, Nayim, you have to be really, strong here to make that challenges, that physical challenges. And I remember when my first training in Tottenham, Guy Butters, he was a guy from the youth team, and he kicked me all over the place in one. I went 3 meters up, I went down, bam. I said, he didn't even look at me. He said, just play on, don't worry, play on. And I remember that I was very, very, important, that challenge for me, because after the training, I just went straight to the gym. Straight to the gym, just put weights, and be strong. That's what I'm talking. The talent is not enough, because if I just stay at home and just go, on the weekend play the game. That's impossible. You have to look after yourself. It's talent plus work, and that's the main thing for me.
It makes me laugh because every single player I've talked to who goes from Spain to England, they all say the exact same thing. They have the exact same experience in their first training session, and they all say, "Oh my God, it's so much more physical. Oh my, I need to up my game. Oh, I need to get stronger." It just makes me laugh because it's always the same
It's like
story.
that. I mean, this is the way the England or British football they understood the game.
Of
It
course.
changed, obviously. It changed because of a lot of managers are European from other countries. The players as well. The best players of the world they go to the Premiership, and obviously they changed. But I remember when I went playing against Vinnie Jones, for example,
Oh yeah.
against
Oh man.
Wimbledon, it's like, wow, what's going to happen today with this guy? I remember with Paul Gascoigne, they are very very good friends, but competing against each other, it was just a lot of physical challenges, and you should be aware about that. That's why Maradona, I think, in this time could be, I mean, even the same as Messi, I think.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So speaking of talents, Sportblog wants to know what young player in La Liga you think is the most talented right now.
Well, I was impressed from the start of the season by Odegaard. I mean,
Yeah.
what a talent! He can see things that a lot of players can't see. He's got that talent, that God-given talent. That's with the last pass, understanding the game, and now he's getting a better player because he's competing as well physically.
Yeah.
That's we all started like this. Talented player is not enough. Odegaard, you have to compete, you have to defend, you have to go back, you have to jump, and you have to go to the floor.
Yeah.
But with the ball, is making a difference in this league, and we can see now Real Sociedad the way they play. I think it's a very exciting team to watch. Very young, I think his average age is I think 24 or something like that.
Yeah, it's the youngest team in the youngest squad in La Liga.
Is
And they're doing remarkable things. So
Absolutely. I mean, young team, but Odegaard, he was the guy that, I don't know if this next season Real Madrid, they're going to get him back, but I think Real Sociedad, they're going to, they're going to fight to keep him because he's very important for, the way they play the game. All the attacking, moves and game, this is, Odegaard involved, and I think he's
yeah.
the most impressive young player now in La Liga.
No, I agree. And certainly probably the most
Yeah,
influential as well.
absolutely.
And I think that my suspicion is he'll stay for at least one more season with Real Sociedad. And then we'll see what happens because there is a bit of an overbooking problem right now in the midfield with Real Madrid. We'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed for at least one more season before Real Madrid come calling to try and bring him back. But anyway, we have
I
another
think
question.
I
Oh,
think
sorry.
it's the right decision to have one more
Yeah.
season because at
Yeah.
the end you have to play every single weekend to improve and to
Yeah.
be really have an impact in the game and be important in the squad. But we'll see.
Well, we've seen
Just
what happens too when players come back too early to clubs like
yeah,
Real Madrid or Barcelona, and it can actually have a negative effect on their career rather than a positive
yeah.
effect because essentially they come back and they go straight to the bench.
That's right.
So
You said one thing, and it's important that Real Madrid had a lot of midfielders and brilliant midfielders, and with a lot of
yeah,
experience, and that's I think that's the thing against Odegaard in this season. You just said that. I mean, you're absolutely right. You have to play every weekend. To go to a team, and obviously it's one of the biggest team in the world. But if you're not playing, it's not. It's like it's not important.
yeah. So Fabel wants to know if you plan on writing a book, and if so, what the title would be.
Well, I don't know the title. You have to think about it. But I had a book
The
about
hero from Paris.
yeah,
The Parisian hero, I don't know.
it's a game called Golden Nayim.
Yeah.
Nayim's goal, and
Yeah.
it was about the experiences of all of us, all the team that we had. But I never thought about writing a book. But if it's a chance, I don't know what title. I mean, there's a lot of things that happens in my life, but every time I play the game, I try to be happy, and maybe it's just happiness of the game can be.
I was going to ask you something actually. Your name, Nayim in Arabic,
Yeah,
the best translation I could find was
that's
happiness.
right.
Is that
Well, it's
right?
afortunado or something like that.
Oh, okay, well,
Yeah,
there you go. Okay, so like fortunate.
fortunate. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about.
Okay.
They told me that. I didn't know. I
Oh,
didn't know
right.
it was so
Okay.
fortunate, but I am fortunate, guy in this world because I did what I loved, what I've been passion of, and I believe that's what I am. Fortunate for to play this beautiful game.
And you talked about the dream team of Barcelona earlier, but the Zaragoza team that you played with was also very much a dream team
Yeah,
for the club itself. And just before we sign off for the afternoon, I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about one of the other legends and the other heroes of the club, which was Radomir Antic, who, as we know, sadly passed away earlier this week
yeah.
at 71 years old. But when you were playing there, did he, even though he wasn't there physically because he was off managing other clubs in La Liga, was there very much a presence within the club of, was he a reference, somebody that was mentioned while you were there? Did he have an impact at all on the team and the way that they would play or in the way that you guys went about doing things?
Well,
Or not really at that point?
thing is, it had an impact because I spoke to some of my ex-teammates that they had him here in Zaragoza and Real Madrid as well, and Atletico de Madrid as well, and he had an impact as a player. He came to Zaragoza. They went to. I was just reading about him when he died in the local newspaper, and there are few players and a few presidents talking about him. And I remember they went to sign one player. At the end, they signed him because he was a very talented player, and he came to Zaragoza and he played like a sweeper. What's a sweeper like
Exactly.
in our time.
The relic of football, times past.
Next to the goalkeeper, starting from the back, usually, very good with the ball, and that was Antique. Very good with the ball as a player. I mean, he had that impact. I remember Fran Beckenbauer. I think he was the best sweeper ever in this game, going forward with the ball, starting from the back. Changing the game because I used to play as a sweeper when I was in the second team, Barcelona, because I was good with the ball, starting from the back, and not a good defender. But that's Radomir
Which
Antic.
is why you ended up moving further up the pitch,
That's
right?
right. Yeah, and that happened to Radomir Antic, and it was important for the youngsters. I remember, just reading that interview that Villarroya that played for Real Madrid. He said, "Well, he used to take us every Thursday, 5 or 6 youngsters, all the youngsters, and teach us how to play in our position." And that's you can tell that he was a different class manager, worrying
Right.
about the youngsters. Pablo as well. That's Pablo Alfaro that played for Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Zaragoza, the central back as well. He said it was important for the youngsters. I was just a young boy and I played 37 games of 30, or 37 of 38, and at 21 years old, central back. And he was the guy that I think the highlight of his career with Atletico Madrid. He changes the club. I mean, he started to change the club to believe that they can win things. And
And they did.
in one season, I think it was 95, 96. He won the league and then he won the Copa del Rey. And for Atletico Madrid, to win the doblete is just a dream come true. And he had a team that's very balanced team. I remember Simeone used to play in that team in the midfield. Kiko Narvaez used to play up front. And I played against that because I was Zaragoza, and it was
Do you remember what it was like to play
very
against
tough.
them?
I remember it was very tough to play with them because they really they were really competitive. In the midfield. I used to play in the midfield, and with playing against Cholo Simeone, it was like well, I mean, you have to be in your best to to win the battle, and they win the league. I think after I don't know how many years from Atletico, and that's what Radomir Antic did. Everyone is telling me that he was a nice person, and that's and his wife. It was important for him. It was 80% of because Irazusta was the goalkeeper, is his best friend, and he said, well, he had a really balanced life, with the wife and the kids, and at the same time with the talents he had, and as a manager, obviously, had a very good time at Atletico Madrid. I think he ended playing at Luton as a player, Luton Town, is possible.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds about right.
And then he won leagues, I think, in his country. I don't know if it was Serbia or Yugoslavia at that time. Yeah. And well, it's a shame, still young to pass away, but when the people pass away, you have to remember the best thing about them. And Radomir Antic is in the heart of Zaragoza's fans, for Atletico Madrid's fans. Obviously, there's countries as well, and that's it. Just rest in peace. And obviously, he's definitely is watching for football from wherever he is.
No question. All right, well, Nayim, thank you very much for your time. Anything else you want to add?
Just be patient in this time. This is a hard time for every one of us. Just be patient. We're going to win. We're going to win this battle, get in our normal life. Enjoy the little details. That's main thing. And now everyone has got time to think about everything. And obviously, just hope that the world after this thing is just be a better place. That's all.
Absolutely. Well, Nayim, thank you so much. A pleasure as always.
Thank you, Semra.
Delighted to see that you're doing well.
Fine, thank you, and nice to see that you're all healthy and fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Semra.
And thanks to you guys as well too for being with us. We hope you enjoyed this chat, and we'll see you all very soon for another edition of Tea Time Talks. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Adios.